I hereby call the meeting of the Brockton City Council for Monday, December 14th, 2020, 7:01 p.m. to order. Please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Governor Charlie Baker's signed open meeting law order dated March 12, 2020, which relieves a public body from the requirement of Section 20 of Chapter 30A that it conduct its business in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public, provided that the public body makes provision to ensure public access to the deliberations of the public body for interested members of the public through adequate alternative means following COVID-19 procedures. Good evening, everyone. We are conducting this meeting this evening via Zoom, and we will start with our clerk, Mr. Zioli, item number 1.
We have the acceptance of the minutes of November 23rd, 2020 City Council meeting.
Accepted and placed on file.
The acceptance of the minutes of the special meeting to set the tax levy on December 7th, 2020.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have the report of the Finance Committee for its meeting of December 7th, 2020.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have the appointment of retired Sergeant Michael V. Damiano as a special police officer.
Referred to finance.
The reappointment of Robert Graham to the Council on Aging for Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending December 2023.
Referred to finance.
The reappointment of Irene R. Clegg to the Council on Aging Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending December 2023.
Referred to finance.
The reappointment of Daniel S. Clegg to the Council on Aging Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending December 2023.
Referred to finance.
The reappointment of Clayton A. Ruchenbach Jr. to the Council on Aging Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending December 2023.
Referred to finance.
Reappointment of Joan Madden to the Council of Aging Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending December 2023.
Referred to finance.
We have the reappointment of Carol Dillery to the Council of Aging Board of Directors for a 3-year term ending December 2023.
Referred to finance. Mr. Clerk, before we
All
continue,
of these,
one moment,
excuse me,
please.
all of these people are residents of Brockton.
Yes, thank you. Before we continue, Mr. Clerk, I know I just spoke with Attorney Resnick, and we're going to do a roll call vote just so we know what council, the presence of the council during this meeting, because you can't see everybody on the TV screen all at once. Attorney Resnick, would you do the roll call attendance, please?
Yep. Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Present.
Cruz,
Present.
Ianieri, Counselor Ianieri.
Hello? Hello?
Hello. Farwell,
Present.
Lally,
Present.
Mendez,
Present.
Monahan,
Present.
Nicastro,
Present.
Rodriguez,
Present.
Thompson.
Present.
That's 11 counselors. Counselors, I would just like to remind everybody and whoever's joining us as well, please keep yourself on mute if you're not speaking. Otherwise, the meeting picks up all your background noise. Thank you, Attorney Resnick. So we have 11 counselors present. Mr. Clerk, if you'd like to continue with the hearings.
Madam President,
Yes.
are you going to admit the public in
That's-
once the petitions are opened? Because they
Uh,
could very well be here for the National Grid items.
So that's what I'm going to do. I think we have to admit everybody all at once, otherwise I can't tell who's here for, well, we do have a National Grid, so I just admitted them. Trying to see who else. I think I'm going to admit everybody in the waiting room for the hearings because I can't tell what they're here for. Does that work, Attorney Resnick?
Yeah, it does. Just give them all the same reminder to remain mute.
Yes, I will do that. I'm admitting them now, and
And then the other reminder is that after the hearing that we will remove them
yes.
after all the hearings are completed.
Mr. Clerk, I believe we can begin with the hearing, reading the petition.
Madam
We have
President,
the-
This Counselor,
Cardoso, on the hearings, I'd like to make a motion to postpone item number 20.
okay, do you want we haven't started, do you want to make that motion from now, or?
If that's procedurally correct.
You would need to start with a motion to take item number 20 out of order.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to take item number 20 out of order.
Second.
A motion's been made and properly seconded to take number 20 out of order. Do we need to do a roll call vote, or do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so any vote tonight has to be by roll call.
Okay. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
All right, the votes to take item number 20 out of order. Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Sorry about that. Yes.
Ianieri, Counselor Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
I'm recusing myself from this hearing.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
That's 10 in the affirmative. No opposition.
So I would like to now make a motion to postpone item number 20.
Have
I
the
think-
clerk
I think-
read the item.
Shouldn't that should be read first, shouldn't it?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Petition of Elevation, Inc., located at 156-160 Main Street, Brockton, for a retail marijuana license.
Okay, now I make the motion to postpone this
I
item.
A motion's been made. Did I hear a second? It was properly seconded.
Well, just on the motion, Madam President,
Counselor Thompson?
is there not a requirement to postpone it to a date certain?
We usually do. Do you have a date that you'd like to postpone it to, Counselor Cardoso?
So it's apparently they haven't completed the site plan and they're scheduled in January, according to what we received from the clerk. So a date after that.
I would recommend the second finance meeting in January.
Second.
A motion's been made to postpone item number 20 to the second, finance meeting in January, and it was properly seconded.
Madam Chair,
Counselor Rodriguez, I know that Attorney Resnick was going to comment.
well, I was basically saying that this is a city council meeting, not necessarily a FinCom meeting, so if
Correct.
it should go to the second FinCom meeting, city council meeting, not FinCom.
Okay,
Correct.
Or January 25th.
Counselor Cardoso, do you want to
Okay, so
amend your?
I amend my motion to continue item number 20 to the second city council meeting, January 25th.
January 25th. Okay.
Okay.
Attorney Resnick,
Second.
were you going to
Yeah, that-
comment?
I had the same comment as Counselor
okay.
Rodriguez.
Okay, perfect. So a motion was made, properly seconded. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianary,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
That's 10 in the affirmative.
Madam President, I'm the representative for the applicant. May I speak?
I'm,
I haven't declared the vote yet. 10 in the affirmative, no opposition. The matter's already been continued.
May I speak at all in connection with this and request that perhaps one of the city councilors may want to reconsider? We would like to give a brief presentation if we may. We are aware that we still need site plan approval on January 5th. And that has been filed for. Notices are going out next week. We're moving along quite briskly with our application, and we would have liked to have given at least some sort of preliminary overview of what we think is a fantastic site and to help revitalize the downtown area. We are in the C3 district, and 25% of the licenses need to be reserved to that district, and I don't believe that 25% maximum has been reached. So if I may, I would like to present. I would imagine I would need the city council to allow me to do so, to continue, and I would respectfully request that. We do anticipate site plan approval. We've worked out on this application.
thank you, Attorney Valerani. Attorney Resnick, as you mentioned, we've already taken the vote to postpone it, so
Yep, Counselor Farwell has his hand up, but the
I thought
matter's
he
been
recused himself
post.
in this matter.
He's got his hand up.
Sure, okay. Counselor Farwell,
Yes, actually, it goes to why I recused myself. An incomplete application was filed. The council has done the right thing by continuing this. I know that might not sit well with the attorney, but frankly, I don't think this should have been on the agenda in the first place because, again, without site plan review, it is a defective application. So if that helps the attorney understand why I think you did what you did, so be it.
If there's no motion to reconsider, the clerk should move on with the agenda.
there is no motion. Mr. Clerk, please move on with the agenda. I'm going to just announce we have, this is a public hearing. We've allowed all 51 participants in this meeting. I ask that you please mute yourselves if you're not speaking because we're picking up background music. And then after the hearings are done, only speak on the hearings by raising your hand. I will give you your moment to speak during the hearings. And then after you're done to please, once the subject that the hearing that you're here for, that you're present for this evening, please remove yourself from the meeting. Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
We have the petition of National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. requested permission to erect and maintain poles and wires to be placed thereon, together with sustaining and protective fixtures, as said companies may deem necessary, to be owned and used in common by our petitioners in the following public way or ways. Main Street, National Grid petitions to install a new intermediate pole, P138, between pole P137 and P139, so a new stitching equipment can be installed for the, a new switching equipment can be installed for the high voltage lines.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please state your name to the clerk. I know we have somebody on here from National Grid.
Hi, good evening. Tim Lightford, National Grid Electric. I am in favor of this and here to answer any questions regarding the proposed pole.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions? I don't see any hands up.
Madam President,
Councilor Thompson?
if we could just have the representative from National Grid explain the need for this pole.
Did you hear that, sir?
I did, certainly. So just to go over the proposed pole location again, National Grid is petitioning to install one new jointly owned pole on Main Street. This pole is to be located approximately 60 feet south of existing pole 137 and approximately 100 feet north of existing pole 139. And this is for new equipment that we're going to be installing to improve the reliability to the circuit and the infrastructure in that area.
Thank you. Does that, Councilor Thompson?
Yeah, that's a satisfactory answer, and I appreciate National Grid working to improve the reliability of their utility. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
Any other councilors? I don't see any hands up. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor or in opposition on this matter? Please raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised. So if not, then I declare that this portion of the hearing closed. We will vote on this at the end of the meeting. So thank you, Mr. Lyford.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, item number 12.
Petition of Clinton Street LLC, 589 Raymond Road, Plymouth, for a transfer of a garage license located at 189 Clinton Street, Brockton, Mass. Building A, previous owners Trojano Family Series LLC. In Clerk's office, September 1st, 2020. Hearing is signed for December 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. All paperwork is on file, and the fire department has no objections.
Great. Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please state your name to the clerk. Is there anyone here regarding this petition?
Yes, hi, good evening. My name is Emmett Johar. I represent Clinton Street LLC. So,
Please state your address to the clerk, sir.
yes, it's 589 Raymond Road in Plymouth, Mass. And it's in reference to 189 Clinton Street.
Okay. Councilors, I know Councilor Castro, this is your ward. Did you?
Yes, Madam President, thank you. Unfortunately, Mr. Johar and I missed each other by telephone, but I would say this, and this is evident from the paperwork filed with the city clerk's office. This property changed hands in August of last year, and for whatever reason, the garage license was not transferred at that time. So it's good that this is happening now. The garage license, of course, should stand in the name of the owner of the property, and I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors have any questions? I don't see any hands up. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this, in favor or in opposition of this petition? I don't see anybody's hands up. So at this time, I declare this portion of the hearing closed. The question is going to be on granting by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri, Ianieri, Counselor Ianieri, Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ian Airy,
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The petition is granted. Mr. Clerk, item number 13.
Petition of Clinton Street LLC, 589 Raymond Road, Plymouth, for a transfer of garage license located at 189 Clinton Street, Brockton. Previous owner, Trojano Family LLC. This is Building B, in City Clerk's Office, September 1, 2020. Hearing is signed for December 14, 2020 at 7 p.m. All paperwork is on file. The fire department has no objections.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Mr. Johar, you
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm in favor. Or,
just please state your name and address to the clerk.
yes, my name is Emmett Johar. I represent Clinton Street LLC, 589 Raymond Road. That's in Plymouth, Massachusetts, 32360.
Any counselors, any questions? Counselor Nicastro, did you have a statement on this?
Yes, thank you. This property actually has 2 garages on it, and I think that's the reason. There was a separate deed, and again, it passed in August of 2019, so we're just doing some cleanup work here in having the garage license transferred to the current owner, which is Clinton Street LLC, and I do support this. Thank you.
Sir, is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this matter in favor or in opposition? If so, please state your name to the clerk. Seeing none, then I declare that portion of the hearing closed. The question is on granting. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ian Airy,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez, Thompson.
Yes.
It's 11 in the affirmative.
The petition is granted. Congratulations, Mr. Johar.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, item number 14.
Petition of S&C Oliveria LLC, 65 Park Street, Rockland, Mass, for a transfer of garage license located at 772 North Main Street, Brockton, Mass. Previous owner Pontat, in council, July 9, 2020. Hearing is signed for December 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. All paperwork on file. Fire department has no objections.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Is there anyone here that's in favor of this petition?
Claudine Oliveira?
Yes. So you're here. Please state your name and address to the clerk.
Claudine Oliveira, 772 North Main Street, Brockton.
Okay, and you the owner or you?
Yes.
Okay. And this is in Ward 7, counselors, and I did have a conversation with our deputy chief, Edward Williams, and he just had a few things to go over with you as far as the license goes, just as far as storage of vehicles on the property. We are, and these are some stipulations that we'll put on there. That there should be no storage of any vehicles anywhere else besides on the business property. And there was also, we should have a number. We need to set a number of vehicles that you're limited to on the actual property. So that's something if we can discuss afterwards. I know I didn't get a chance to speak to you before the hearing, And normally if it was in person, I'd be able to meet with you at City Hall beforehand and go over some of the stipulations, but that was the only requirement. I know that Deputy Chief was in favor of this, but we just wanted to make sure that it's understood that there is no storage of the vehicles anywhere else in the city except on the business property.
Understood.
Understood? Very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this matter in favor or in opposition of this petition?
Madam President, shouldn't those stipulations be placed on a repair license rather than the garage license?
Sure. So that's, I think they go in, we'll place them then on, I think the next license is the repair. So we will do that. We will on the repair license.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or in opposition? Seeing none, that portion of the hearing is closed. The question is on granting of the garage license. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez, Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
That's 11 in the affirmative.
Thank you. The petition for the garage license is granted.
Yes.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Mr. Clerk. Item number 15.
Awesome.
Petition of Claudia D. Oliverio, MGC Auto Sales, Inc. of 65 Park Street, Rockland, Mass. for a transfer of a motor vehicle repair mechanical license located at 772 North Main Street, Brockton, Mass. Previous owner, Pongtan Champion Auto Group. In City Clerk's office, July 9th, 2020. Hearing is signed for December 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. All paperwork on file, and the fire department has no objections.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Ms. De Oliveira, did you want to speak on this matter? This is for the repair license.
Yes.
Okay, just please state your name and address to the clerk.
Claudine Oliveira, 65 Park Street, Rockland, Mass. 02370.
Thank you. Once again, this is also same business and it's in Ward 7. So the stipulations, as the clerk mentioned, would go on to the repair license. What I'm going to do is, Ms. De Oliveira, is give you my phone number. If you can reach out to me, that way we can go over everything, possibly tomorrow. We can just make sure that everything, we're all set with what some of the requirements that we've asked. My number is 508.
Just 1 second, please.
Okay.
508
451
451
1632.
1632.
Yes, so
Early.
please reach out to me and we can speak just to make sure that everything is all set. Okay,
Thank you. Okay, sure.
thank you. Counselors, does anybody else that would like to speak in favor? Counselor Cruz?
No, I just have a question, so I'm not sure. Are we going to vote on this and you're going to try to add stipulations later?
No, the same thing. I haven't had a chance to speak to them. I wasn't able to get in touch with them today, just to make sure that, no, we're voting on it this evening. I'm not holding their license, but I just want to make sure that the comments that were made by Deputy Chief, that we follow them. They're not just making sure that there's no storage off-site of any vehicle.
So there won't be actual stipulations if they're not voted on and added on.
Right, so they're the ones that was it, just the number of vehicles on the property.
Okay, but I guess I'm just confused. Once we vote, the license passes.
Right, so no, I just wanted them to reach out to me, so yes, it does, and I'm not holding their I just wanted them to reach out to me just so as a business in the ward, as I didn't get a chance to speak to them before this evening.
Okay, so,
And like I mentioned earlier, if this was a live meeting and we were in person, I would have taken them, spoken to them in the hall or in the conference room and just introduced myself and gotten a chance to make sure that everything, that we're all on the same page. Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Excuse me. I think the counselor from Ward 1 is right. If you vote on this license tonight, there are no stipulations on it. I think that should be understood. You cannot vote on this license with stipulations without stating what those stipulations
oh,
are.
I did. I just stated the stipulations earlier, Mr. Clerk, and you told me to hold them for the repair part of the license. So the stipulations
those
are
are-
that they can't store any vehicles off-site and that, you know, the number of vehicles on the property. So that was, those were the only stipulations.
Okay, but whatever you desire.
Yes, and then as we mentioned, we will send that to you. That was the main concern, is that there is no, the stipulations with that there's no storage off-site. And Ms. De Oliveira, you said that you understood that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam President?
Counselor Thompson?
Thompson. Sorry, just to clarify, you made mention of number of spots on the property. Do we have a number that is going to be attached to the stipulation, or is that a number to be determined?
This, I'm going to be pretty straightforward. I had a brief conversation with Deputy Chief Williams, who has visited the site, and these were just some of the concerns that came up. So as far as the number, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask whoever's not speaking to please mute your microphones. We're getting a lot of background noise. So these were just concerns. I don't have a set number. It would be whatever was with their, they have an existing, I also, a used car sales license, correct, Ms. De Oliveira?
Yes.
Yes, so whatever that number is that it would go with the, along with the repair number.
So it's just a confirmation that they are aware that they're restricted to whatever current number that lot is restricted to, and it's not a deviation from that number.
No, it just
Okay.
make sure that that number goes with the sales.
Thank you, Madam President.
Excuse me. Would you like a recess to finalize this, or are you satisfied with the?
I mean, I think
result?
Ms. De Oliveira said that she understands it. I mean, it's not, no major stipulations. I think she said she understood them, so I don't think we need to recess. And I'm a little skeptical with a recess with so many people on this meeting. I don't want to lose everybody and have them not come back.
Okay, just a suggestion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Ms. De Oliveira, do you have any questions for me, or is it clear? Or?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this matter? In favor and opposition? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. So as we're voting on this, the questions on granting with the stipulations of, and we will send these to you in a written form, Mr. Clerk, and I will make sure that Ms. De Oliveira has them also in writing, and that is that there is no storage of any of their vehicles on any off-site property, and that the number of vehicles on the property correspond with their with the used car sales license. Okay, does that, Mr. Clark?
Results in Georgia were counted 3 times.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize President-elect Biden was in the meeting with us. Please mute yourselves. Mr. Clerk, did you get the stipulations?
I believe what you're saying is that they're going to go by whatever the amount of vehicles that was allocated to them on their used car license
Yes,
will be part of your stipulations. Is that,
yes.
that's what you're saying? Okay, so there will be none in addition allowed for repairs, for vehicles that are going to be repaired.
I was told that we could put them together, that would be,
Can't do that? Okay, so that there will be a total, it'll be twice the amount actually that, let's say if, for example, if there were 20 for the sale of used vehicles, then they would also be allowed 24 spaces for 20 vehicles for repairs as well. Is that, am I right there?
I don't have the numbers, and unfortunately, I don't have the exact number. Ms. De Oliveira, do you have those numbers?
27 total. 27 total.
27 total, okay. Mr. Clerk, I'm
27.
going by what the petitioner is telling me. Once again, I wasn't able to get the information beforehand, so, and that's
Okay,
what the deputy chief suggested.
I just want to make sure that we're recording the, the exact amount. So my understanding is that they have 27 spots for used vehicles, and now we're going to allow them 27 spaces,
No.
or 27 vehicles for repairs, or not?
No, that's so, no, so hang on one second. So I was under the understanding we could kind of bring them together is what was suggested.
Okay, I mean, you could do that. I'm just trying to get it straight in my mind so that we know the exact number to put down. It doesn't necessarily be what I've just stated as an example, but I'm looking for a number of vehicles that will be on the lot, that will be allowed on the lot for repairs. They already are granted the number of vehicles for used cars, which we have nothing to do with.
Correct.
But all I'm concerned with having the correct number of vehicles that they will be allowed to have on site for repairs.
Okay, I know that somebody has their hand raised with Ms. De Oliveira.
Yes, Madam President, we have 27 parking space marked with the lines, everything by the regulations, and that's the number of cars that will be, storage there, or that's the amount of parking space that we have, and that's what it was allowed to have.
Okay. So, Mr. Clerk, they're saying that it's 27 per, that's what their license states, 27 parking spaces for their sales. Did you get that portion?
Okay, all right, that's exactly what we'll put down, that there will be 27 spaces. It's a total, in other words, it will be 27 total vehicles on that lot at any given time.
That's
Is
right.
that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. If
So the
that's the
question,
number, then that's the number we'll put down,
okay,
27.
thank you, Mr. Clerk. The questions on granting with, as stipulated, Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Isak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Counselor Rodriguez may have stepped off of the meeting, I think.
Thompson.
Yes.
Last call for Rodriguez. That's 10 in the affirmative, no opposition.
The petition is granted. Congratulations, Ms. De Oliveira.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk,
We have the petition of Lady DePina of 94 Prospect Street, Brockton, for a transfer of a motor vehicle repair mechanical license located at 50 Meadowbrook Road, Unit 3, previous owner Expo Classic Auto Body and Repair, in City Clerk's office, August 19, 2020. Hearing is signed for December 14, 2020, 7 p.m. All paperwork is on file, and the fire department has no objections.
Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Hi, good evening. This is Alvin Despina. Yes, here for transfer of license at 50 Middlebrook Road, Brockton.
Madam President, is there any chance the petitioner could get a little closer to his microphone? I can't hear anything.
Did you hear that, sir?
Yes.
That's better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please state your name and address to the clerk once again, because it was very hard to hear the first time.
Hi, this is Alvin Despina. Yes, we're here for transfer of license at the 50 Middlebrook Road, Brockton, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in favor of this petition? I know Councilor Castro, this is your ward.
Yes, it is.
Would you speak on this?
Yes, I will. I'd be happy to. Thank you, Madam President. Well, I have to say that Mr. and Mrs. Despina are very patient people, because this license and the next one that we're entertaining, they changed hands. They went into the hands of Jason and Nelson Lope a year ago. And since then, Mr. and Mrs. Despina have been doing their best to quarterback having the licenses changed to them. Mr. Despina has been working at the business as its manager. And so many roadblocks came in, most especially COVID-19. And I'm just so pleased for them that we're sitting here this evening. We have met a number of times. I don't often say this, makes my own garage look shameful. Their garage is scrupulously clean. You could eat off the floors. And I think they run a good business, and I think it will be very successful. When the time comes, we have agreed on some stipulations to the license. Thank you. Of course, I support this.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. At this time, the question is on granting by a roll call vote.
Madam President?
Yes.
Before we go to that, would you like me to read the stipulations we've agreed to?
Of course. So you're going to do them on this one or the following one on the?
I'll do them on both, actually.
Okay, please do then.
Thank you. Number one, applicants agree that at all times during the terms of these licenses, the businesses they operate will comply with all city, state, and federal laws and regulations. Two, the hours of operations are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 7 p.m., Saturdays, 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., closed Sundays and legal holidays. Number three, hours of operation will be posted outside using a minimum of 2-inch letters. 4, all outside storage of auto parts and/or debris is prohibited. 5, all outside storage of vehicles is prohibited on Meadowbrook Road side of the property after the hours of operation listed above. In addition, no vehicle associated with this business will be parked or stored anywhere other than in the spaces provided as set forth in number 8 below. Number 6, all vehicles associated with this business must be parked off street. 7, all vehicle repair work must only be undertaken inside unit number 3, the garage building. 8, the 7 rear and 6 street side parking spaces are shown on the parking plan submitted with the application and must be properly striped with 4-inch wide stripes, including crossed hatch sections. And I'll just hold up. I picked up today a revised parking plan, and there it is. And I will be scanning it and sending it to the clerk's office in the morning. Number 8, signage will be posted on each of the parking spaces shown on the parking plan indicating parking for Anildo Auto Body Repairs LLC and include 2 spaces dedicated solely for use by employees of applicant's business. 10, no bonding or spray painting of vehicles will be performed on site unless and until Brockton Fire Department approves a completed paint booth in writing. 11, no wrecked, damaged, or dismantled motor vehicles or parts thereof will be placed or stored outside at any time. 12, any dumpster will be properly fenced per ordinance and/or state law and shown on plan provided with application. 13, vending machines will not be placed outside the building. 14, this license is specifically conditioned upon the property owners, Jason Carrera Lopes and Nelson Carrera Lopes, maintaining a garage license, which they do have one. 15, upon acceptance of these licenses, the applicant license holder acknowledges that any violation of the conditions set forth above is punishable by a fine of $360 per offense per day and will be the reason for revocation of this license. And it has been, these stipulations have been agreed to in writing by Mr. DePina on behalf of the business.
Thank you.
And that's it. I just wanted to point out one other thing. We have a scrivener's error that I noticed in preparing for this hearing. The application was filled out in the name of Anildo Auto Body Repair, but the actual business name, according to the Secretary of State's records, is Anildo Auto Body Repairs, plural, LLC, repairs. So I have made the clerk's office aware of that.
Thank you, Counselor. Are you all set, or is that?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. DePina, you have spoken to Counselor Castro. You're aware of all these, you understand the stipulations?
Yes, I do understand.
We can't really hear you very well, so I'm not sure if it's.
Yes, I do understand.
Thank you. Okay. So is there anybody else here in favor or in opposition that would like to speak on this petition? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. Now the questions on granting with stipulations. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
Petitions granted. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. DePina. Mr. Clerk, number 17.
Thank you.
Petition of L.D. DePina of 94 Prospect Street, Brockton, for a transfer of a motor vehicle repair body license located at 50 Meadowbrook Road, Unit 3, Brockton. Previous owner, Expo Classic Auto Body and Repair. In Clerk's Office, August 19, 2020. Hearing is signed for December 14, 2020 at 7 p.m. All paperwork on file, and the fire department has no objections.
Time having arrived, I declare this portion of the hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Mr. DePina, please
Yes.
state your name and address to the clerk.
Yes, Alvit DePina, 50 Middlebrook Road, Brockton.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or in opposition on this petition? No. Counselor Nicastro, did you want to speak on this item?
Yes, Madam President, I do support this. And there are stipulations, which are the exact same stipulations that I read for number 16. Do you wish me to reread them into the record?
I think, counselors, I think we can, I don't think there's a need. I did, unless somebody, does anybody want Counselor Castro reread them? I think that's fine. We've taken note and the clerk has, you're sending a copy to the clerk. So Mr. and Mrs. DePina, these are the same stipulations that were on the previous petition. And you understand that they'll be on this one as well, correct? Did you hear us? Mr. DePina?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this petition? And anyone here in favor or in opposition? Seeing none, I declare that portion of the hearing closed. The questions on granting with stipulations, Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asek,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianary,
Yes.
Barwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The petition's granted, the petition's granted. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. DePina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, item number 18.
We have the petition of Terrasol Group LLC of 87 East Ashland Street, Brockton, Mass, requested an adult use retail marijuana license located at 702 North Montello Street, Brockton, Mass.
Time having arrived, I
Ma-
declare, I'm sorry,
Council President,
Councilor Cruz, I'm not sure.
point of parliamentary inquiry, I guess. I don't understand how this is on our agenda this evening.
I was gonna,
This was motioned to, this council voted to send this to December 28th. And under my understanding, there is no parliamentary process for this to be moved tonight, to be brought in front of us on this evening.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilor
I would
Cardozo.
like to make a motion to hear this tonight.
And I believe that motion is out of order. There is no parliamentary procedure that allows this, after this had been sent to the December 28th meeting. Under my understanding of our rules, I don't understand any process that allows this to be in front of us this evening. I'd like an opinion from Attorney Resnick, but I'm going to challenge. And it's not about what the item is we have rules. This was sent to a December 28th meeting, and I don't understand any process under Robert's rules, under the ordinances of the city of Brockton and state law that allows this to be brought up tonight.
So you had a question for Attorney Resnick. I know Councilor Cardoso made a motion, but I didn't hear a second. Attorney Resnick, do you want to answer Councilor Cruz?
This is unbelievable. Mr. Christ almighty.
I believe this was rescheduled. And
I'm not sure who's speaking, but you don't have the floor. I know at the time we have a question out for Councilor Cruz has made the statement, and we were waiting for Attorney Resnick's response.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
My internet, my internet's unstable, so people were breaking up.
Sure.
Did Councilor Cardoso's motion receive a second?
No, it didn't.
And I had the floor
so
first, and I don't, did you hear me, Attorney Resnick?
I did, and my response is that I already explained this vote and this procedure during an executive session of the city council, and I'm just going to defer to my statements that I made then.
Madam Chair, then I'm going to raise a point of order if Councilor Cruz is through.
I'm temporarily through, yes.
We have, I'm sorry, you're all talking at the same time. Councilor Cruz, what did you state?
I said I'm done speaking for now.
Okay, Councilor, we do have a motion on the floor. Councilor Farwell?
Yes, Councilor Cruz is quite correct. I don't care what our legislative council may have offered for an opinion, advice, or anything else in executive session. The legislative body in this city voted to continue a hearing to the 28th of December. That is in the minutes of our meeting. The public has a right to expect that hearing will be on the 28th of December. I don't care that it was brought forward. I don't care that it was put on this agenda. The fact of the matter is the council voted, and we can't operate. We will have absolute chaos if we're going to take votes and then somehow later on in executive session or for some other reason, we're going to say, well, we're not going to follow that vote. We're going to do something different. Now, I've recused myself from this particular application, and I am going to continue to do so. I have never in my life seen a procedure that we followed so convoluted, so confusing. We've been accused by this applicant of.
I would ask that if Counselor Farrell's recusing himself, that he recuse himself completely. There's a motion on the floor. The motion is to hear this tonight. We were advised by our attorney that we could hear this tonight.
I'm
It
sorry,
made it
but
to
I
the
have to
agenda.
quit.
It's on our agenda.
How to give him the agenda.
But the point is, it's on the agenda improperly. Now, I've been accused and everyone else has been accused of crimes, and I want those investigated. You
I'm
can.
sorry, I'm the applicant, but are you recusing yourself?
Council President, please.
Hello?
Counselors, we can't all speak at the same time.
Get together.
Counselor, I don't know who's just speaking out, otherwise that's not, this is you can only speak when you've been recognized. And please, let's, Counselor Cardoso made a motion, but I didn't hear a second. So in that case, we move on to the next agenda item.
Is someone going to
Point of
second
order.
the motion to hear
Have
this
the petition-
tonight?
Are you going on to petition number 19? Council President?
There was no second. Petition number.
There's a public hearing scheduled tonight.
Well, Madam President, for the sake of argument.
I'm sorry,
second the
who?
motion.
I don't know
This
who's
is-
speaking.
This is Councilor Rodriguez.
There's a second.
I'm sorry? Counselor Rodriguez, what happened? Okay.
I said for the sake of the argument, I'm going to second the motion. Since it's on the agenda, I'm going to second it.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion's been made and properly seconded.
On the motion.
Who's
Councilor
speaking?
Cruz.
Counselors, you need to raise your hand. If you can't do it mechanically with the computer, please wave it in the screen. Otherwise, I don't know who's speaking. Counselor Cruz, on the motion.
On the motion, I repeat, I believe this is an absolutely illegal motion. This should never have been put on our agenda. We have rules, and just so the public understands, this has nothing to do with what the agenda item is. We have rules, and there's reason for the rules. This was, in fact, by Councilor Rodriguez, was motion postponed and properly voted on for the December 28th meeting. When we start to just not pay attention to our rules, we might as well not have them, and then you can't run your meetings. And I think it would be absolutely, I think it'd be illegal to act on this. This should not be on our agenda. It was postponed till December 28th.
So my question is, why do we have a council attorney? Our attorney advised us to hear this tonight during executive session. So why do we have a council attorney then? Then we don't need a council attorney.
I need to interrupt. Please, just everyone understand that the executive session, you're supposed to keep it in the executive privilege.
Well,
Please
too
do
bad.
not
You guys
advise.
just put it out there because we were advised. Our council attorney advised us to hear it tonight. She put it on the agenda. She had it come into the agenda.
She doesn't get to make the agenda.
Okay, then we don't need a council attorney.
Excuse me, Madam President.
Yes.
Believe me, you're having discussion here that took place in executive session that is not allowable.
Correct.
I think you should refrain from this and go on with whatever it is without discussing executive session.
The attorney brought that up. She said she advised us in executive session.
So
everybody can make their own assumptions as to what that advice was. So I didn't do anything wrong here. She said it herself.
Councilor Rodriguez on the motion.
Madam President, I'm not quite sure how did this item make it to the agenda?
Exactly.
Public does not put together the agenda. The reason why I second this agenda item is because it's on the agenda. So how did it make it to the agenda? And I'm going along because I'm the one who actually made the motion to postpone this particular applicant to the 28th. So how did it make it to the 14th agenda when it was supposed to be held off until the 28th? That's what I like to know. I mean, who actually put the agenda together?
So Counselor Rodriguez, that I have a message from our attorney that her internet isn't very stable, so I don't know if we've lost her. So that's a question that should, that's.
No, the reason why I want to bring that up, madam, is because of what Council Cruz is saying. If we are deciding some things on the council meeting and then it makes basically absolutely no sense or point, if we refer something to a particular date and we do not abide by that particular date, what's the sense of us being a council and representing the council interest if we don't follow our own rules within the council? If we are referring an item, it's just like a previous item here was referred to the meeting in January. Now, all of the sudden, we get a first agenda in January. If that item shows up on the agenda, what's the sense of postponing anything if we do not abide by our own postponement?
Okay.
How did this thing
Can you
actually
hear
make
me?
it to the agenda?
Yes, I can hear you, Attorney Resnick.
Counselors, I have already answered these questions in executive sessions. I've explained to you as to why I'm not going to be making those same statements tonight. If you'd like to hold another executive session on the 28th, we can certainly do that. You don't have to move forward on this motion, or you could disallow the motion. If the motion doesn't carry, then you move on to the next agenda item and the hearing doesn't open. If you want me to go into executive session on the 28th, we can post that and I can reiterate the conversation that we had at our last executive session. But I advise against further comment on this outside of an executive session.
Okay, I know counselors, this portion.
Madam President, I still had a question as to how did this item get on the agenda?
Okay, I mean, that's.
If we had postponed this item to the 28th, how did it make it to the 14th agenda?
Counselor, I think the Legislative Council just explained that to you.
She's explaining something that she's already had a conversation with all of you.
Counselor Cardoso, we can't have everybody speaking at the same time. We can't. Otherwise, nobody's going to understand anything.
Counselor, just a point of order. I'm just trying to answer the question. And that is that the Legislative Council just told you the reason for it being placed on the agenda. If the question is who put it on there, my staff did through direction to do so. And that should answer that question, I would say. Now it's up to the council to move forward on this item. I would say based on what your Legislative Council has offered you, I have nothing more to add to that other than we place on that agenda what is supposed to be placed on. It's not up to us to say that it can't go on when there is a basic, when you were all in a session and apparently agree to this process. So just to try to shed a little more light on it. What you do is of no concern to the clerk because the clerk does not have a vote. But just to make it clear, that's how this came about being placed on the agenda. And of course, who did it? You certainly know who makes up your agenda. So I leave you with that.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Counselors, I know, Counselor Rodriguez, you raised your hand again, but I have counselors that have their hands up. Counselor Lally.
Thank you, Madam President. What did I just do? Zoom is officially the worst. I would respectfully request or suggest that the president calls a recess 5-10 minutes or so everything can be cleared and figured out, just have everything ironed out, because we cannot keep going like this. We cannot keep functioning like this.
Or I just don't know how we go into recess with the public on here as a public hearing. So I need to get some technical, I'm not sure how that happens, but okay, so hang on one second, Counselor Lally. Let me figure out, is that we do have Counselor Cardo, we have a motion on the floor and it was properly seconded, so I don't know,
The motion on the floor, that was not in the form of a motion. It
So-
was more of a suggestion, I believe.
No, it was a motion to hear this tonight.
Counselor Cardoso made a motion and then it was properly seconded by Counselor Rodriguez. And I know you
I
mentioned.
would caution you, Madam President, of recess because we may lose all of the public. and we'll
Correct, and that's why I'm not, I don't see that happening because I don't want to have a problem letting up people back in for the hearings. So let me see, I know I have cable on, look, I don't think that's going to happen. Give me we can't go into a recess because this is an open meeting. So the question of the recess is off the table, counselors. I see people that have hands raised. This is, I can only take, I don't know who MCAD is, but if you're not a counselor, I can't recognize you. Counselor Thompson, you have your hand raised?
I do, Madam President. There is I guess two ways. There's a motion on the floor right now that's been properly seconded. I think if we go ahead and make a vote on that, that'll kind of clear up how we're going to move forward. Unless as Councilor Cruz said, it's improper or illegal to make that motion. But I think just to kind of get this process moving forward, I'd recommend we vote on the motion before us and then move forward as voted upon. It's my opinion.
Okay, very good, Counselor. Thank you. I know, Counselor Farwell, your hand's up, but I know you recused yourself from this, so I don't know if that's an error, but I don't know who the other people are, but if you're not counselors, I can't recognize you. This is not, I haven't opened up the public hearing part yet, if that is going to happen. So right now we have Counselor Cardoso's motion, and it was properly seconded by Counselor Rodriguez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
ASAC?
Yes.
So just to make it clear, if you vote yes, that means you want the hearing on Terrasols LLCs to proceed tonight.
Correct.
Okay, so ASAC,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
No.
Ianieri,
No.
Farwell,
Recused.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Sorry, no.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
No.
6 in the affirmative, 4 in opposition.
So we're moving forward with the hearing. Mr. Clerk, please.
Madam President,
Counselor Cruz?
just want to let you know, I'll also be recusing myself from the rest of this hearing. I don't believe it's legal, so.
Okay.
Madam President,
Counselor Ianieri?
you're the Dean of the Council, and I'm recusing myself as well because I don't think this is proper to do. And for all my many years, this is the worst thing I've seen in a city council chambers, and we should be ashamed of ourselves for our performance. So I'm recusing myself as well.
Counselor Asak, could we take a brief recess, even if it's just to close the screen so I can give you a call?
Yes, please. So I will contact BCA. We're going into a brief recess. coming back from recess. Mr. Clerk, I believe you were, did you read the item yet? Please read the petition.
What's that? Yes, we read the item.
We read it, okay. So I would like to, at this time, make a motion to continue this hearing to the 28th. I've spoken with our legislative counsel, and she would like the opportunity to be able to speak to the councilors again before the next hearing date. So I'm making a motion to continue this hearing until the 28th.
On the motion,
I'm not sure who's speaking.
Councilor Lally.
Oh, Council Lally.
Would it be better for us to make a new motion, or would it be best for us to reconsider the existing motion?
If I may, you're going to have the exact same effect because it would still go on the 28th based off of the last meeting's motion. So that's just the will of the council.
If I may, what just happened?
Madam President.
We just made a motion
Yes, so
to hear this tonight. So now what are we doing?
so I'm making a motion to give the
Madam President.
That was already on procedurally, that doesn't
Counselor,
work.
I'm trying to explain, so please, one at a time, and we will be heard. Yes, you did have your motion. We voted on it, councilors. I spoke with our attorney, and she would like the opportunity to be able to speak with the councilors, and I'm sorry, I have things popping up on my computer. So she would like our legislative council would like the opportunity to be able to speak to everyone and in an executive session, and that before, so if we postpone this till the 28th.
So you must
We
postpone.
can't do
the
that.
second
We've
application.
already voted to
Oh,
hear
yes,
it.
I can because I just did, Counselor, so that's what I'm asking. So I'm trying to work with you here.
So are you
President.
postponing Commonwealth as well?
I'm
Madam
sorry.
President, this is Moses.
Yes, Counselor Rodriguez.
Well, I'm not quite sure where we are. The discussion was that we're violating a particular rule of the council, but now we're violating another rule. saying,
Exactly.
you know, a matter came to a vote and it passed 6-4 for us to hear this. Now you're going to go back and basically say that vote didn't count or that vote didn't matter.
Behind scenes.
I think by law. And
Mr. Woods, please, no comments. The hearing isn't, I haven't opened the hearing.
I think
We're listening to the councilors.
Madam President, you have the ability to mute everybody if you.
I
think-
do, but Counselor, if you see how many people on the screen, I can't control them popping a word
Oh, I
in
see.
here and there and then remuting themselves. Sorry.
But going back to what I was stating, a matter came in front of this body and it passed 6-4 to hear a particular item. I don't think none of us have the authority to postpone a vote that was already taken legally by the council.
Okay.
I think you're here. I think you now need to open the hearing, listen to whatever
Thank
we
you,
have.
Counselor. Okay.
Now we don't have to act on this.
Counselor, correct. Let's move forward. Like I said, I mentioned, I spoke, that was what was suggested. So let me, so at this time, the clerk has read the petition. Hang on one second. Okay, so I will open the hearing.
Madam President, before you declare the hearing open, can we hear from Attorney Resnick?
I don't know, Attorney Resnick, it looks like she's having either internet issues or Attorney
Hi.
Resnick, are you there?
I'm sorry, my video has just been very unstable and I can hear everybody, but everyone's just freezing out. If the council wants me to participate in an executive session to explain why the procedure that just went followed happened so that the counselors would participate in a vote as opposed to recusing them, I can do that by having an executive session, but we just can't do that right now because we don't have a notice posting that we'd be going into executive session. So if the counselors want to have another executive session and we can go over what was said at the last session, we can do that. And then you can still hear the applicant on the 28th. we could start our executive session before our meeting. It doesn't need to be at the end of the meeting. And so that is an avenue that I was trying to offer in order for the counselors who want to participate in an applicant's decision, but want to understand the procedural aspect of this, is that we could do executive session on the 28th and have the hearing on the 28th as well.
Madam President, a point of order, that would have worked if we had not taken a vote. But since a vote was taken, I think that ship has sailed and we need to move on to the next phase. Now, at the end, we can make a motion one way or the other to continue this matter until the 28th. Now, I think we need to, by order of law, we must open the hearing because we duly motion made, second, and voted upon, and I think we need to move forward with this.
Okay, Counselor, so my motion didn't get a second anyway, so we did have a motion and it passed. So right now, we're going to open this hearing. Time having arrived, I declare this hearing open. Is there anyone here in favor? Please come forward and state your name to the clerk. I do want to remind everybody that this petition has already been before us. You know, we did hear it a while back, and just so you know, we're not going to repeat the whole hearing over. If we do have a number of people on this hearing with us, so if you would just like to state your name and address, and then whether you're in favor or in opposition, that would be I think that would be acceptable. So just so we don't repeat the whole hearing that happened a few weeks back. So is there anyone here?
Hello, yes, this is Phyllis Ellis.
Ms. Ellis.
This is Phyllis Ellis.
Yes.
Phyllis Ellis, 273 West Chestnut Street, Brockton, Mass. I came on in support of Mr. Woods, but I've been hearing all this that's going back and forth, recusing and everything. I think Mr. Woods should be granted his license. He's done all the paperwork, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He was told he came to the meeting on November 9th thinking he was going to get a license. It was postponed, I thought, until later in December. We are here tonight to give him a license, I hope, but I think he has done all the paperwork, and he was told after he did all the paperwork that there was no license available. Okay, that was one thing. Then a license became
Ms. Ellis, I don't want to
okay?
interrupt you, but if you want to just state your reason, whether you're in favor or, if you're in favor of the.
I'm in favor. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't know all the
It's okay. I mean,
procedures.
we had the hearing and everybody's.
Giving Mr. Woods a license. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else here in favor of this petition? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Hi, my name is Ziana DeFortunato of 39 Rockwell Ave. I am in favor of Terracel LLC receiving their license.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here in favor of this petition? Please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Hi, Lysangela Texera, 54 Henry Street in Brockton. I am completely in favor of him getting his license. I feel like the city's playing with him and wasting his time, and he needs to get his license.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in favor of this petition? Please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Hi, my name is Carlos Toussaint. I'm a resident of Brockton, 23 Glenwood Street. I am in favor of Ian Wood as a SC applicant. I think it's important that we identify and support our own community members. So Ian, you have my support.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in favor? Please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Yes, Joe Morrison, 52 Ames Street, in support of this man. It seems kind of strange that the council has changed their rules and stopped the person that there was the only one applicant that was before the council. And I don't understand how they're turning around and doing that. They should not be able to change that and not be able to have it done. This gentleman is a businessman working in the area. He should be able to get his license. They seemed like they changed that there was no license and there was a license. They overcharged him on the fee.
Sir, are you in favor of this petition?
I am very much in favor. That's what I was
Very
telling
good.
you. I was explaining
Yeah.
the reasons why.
Yes, but I mean, going back and forth, they had the hearing a few weeks back, so.
Right. I missed that hearing. I'm trying to explain what I feel is the reasons why they should approve this. I think that there's been plenty of reasons why people were continuing things. I believe at the meeting that was on November 9th, Councilor Rodriguez made a motion to continue this hearing until the 28th of December. And at that point gave Commonwealth until the 14th of December to file an application, and their hearing would be at the same day on the 28th if that was done. Now, I understand that the council and the attorneys got together and realized that if they were going to allow one in, they had to leave both hearings.
Correct. I mean, that's what we just spent this whole time. I understand the process. This is a hearing. This is for you to speak in favor or in opposition of the applicant. So I would like you to stick to the applicant and not so much what just went on with the council, please.
Well, I'm trying to explain what has gone on for what I've seen in the last 6 months. Now, I am in favor of this place on North Montello Street. I think we need local neighborhood businesses, Brockton-owned businesses, not companies coming from out of town and out of state with questionable backgrounds and questionable ideas. And we have a company that's going to be coming up in a little while that has been 3 years delaying and not contributing one dime to the city. And I think this is very wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this petition? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Vanessa Jean Baptiste here, Legal Greens. I support Ian opening his business. Another Black-owned company is needed in Brockton.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in favor that would like to come forward? And if so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk.
Hi, my name is Natalia Guerrero. I live in 10 Madrid Square. I just wanted to get on to say that I completely support Ian Woods and Terrasol LLC. I think you guys, this license is his. It's by right. He's done everything correctly. Postponing him and all of these games is ridiculous at this point. And just watching adults go back and forth about this is straining.
Guerrero,
So please
there's a
approve
process,
him.
and we're just trying to make sure that the process is done correctly and that
Yes,
we're all
I've been there
understanding
every
the
step of the
to
process,
everyone.
and every step has been ridiculous. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this petition? If so, please come forward and state your name to the clerk. Seeing none, I close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Mr. Valerani?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'm not speaking in opposition. I just make an inquiry as to whether the granting of this license would exceed the 75% limitation set aside for the C2 district.
Madam President, this attorney should not be speaking. That's a conflict of interest.
Counselor, this is
He's not a Brockton resident. This is open to the Brockton resident.
Yes, yes.
Counselor, this is a public hearing. This is a public hearing, and we have the right.
He does not have the right. He represents another party that's coming in front of us for an application. He doesn't have the right to speak. You will see him in January.
Cardoso, this is a public hearing. I mean, first of all, sir, you didn't state your name and address to the clerk at the beginning. You didn't state your address.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. Jim Valeriani with the Mensing Group, 100 State Street in Boston is our principal office. And I just wanted to mention my understanding of the 75% licenses reserved for the C2 district and 25% for the C3. And that was all I wanted to add to make sure the council is.
No questions.
Complete conflict of interest. He shouldn't be allowed to speak.
Counselor Cardoso, when there is a public hearing, it is open to
not for an attorney that represents another party. That's
Cardoso.
He's correct.
Can I speak, please? I'm just so frustrated right now.
Who's screaming and that they want to speak, but there is option on Zoom where you can raise your hand and I will recognize you. So I'm not sure who's that, but who is that? I'm not sure who's, somebody's clapping. Is that, yeah, is it?
I don't know how to raise my hands because
Ellie? Yes,
this
how?
thing is all over the place.
Speaking, I closed the hearing for the, in favor. Did you want to speak in favor or in opposition, ma'am?
What's her name?
I just see Ellie on the screen. I'm not sure.
Sorry. Lysandra Texera from Henry Street. This is getting really out of control. If he is not a Brockton resident, why is he speaking when we get cut off? As soon as somebody speaks, you're cutting people off, not allowing people to speak.
Cutting anybody off.
You have.
Okay.
You have. So why does he get to speak if he does not live in Brockton and does not represent the
hearings are not, correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Resnick, but we've had many hearings when non-residents speak. This is just, it's a public hearing. It is
He was
not.
asking a question. He wasn't saying oppose or
Mr.
approve.
Woods, you don't have your hands up and this is what, I don't know why you're all talking at the same time.
There's no hands up option.
Attorney Resnick, do they have, from my understanding, this is a public hearing and in past hearings, it's never been just a requirement just for residents. Am I incorrect or? Okay. Mr. Clerk, can you help with this, please? Mr. Zioli?
Yes, what is it?
I'm just, a lot of the comments, I have counselors that are, that feel that we shouldn't allow non-residents to speak during public hearings. This is I've participated in many public hearings with the city council. I think it's a public hearing. It isn't just for Brockton residents, but correct me if I'm incorrect.
Well, a public hearing, the public is such as general
Correct.
can speak on it. I think that this gentleman has already made his point with his question. I think the Councilor Cardoza has made her point. My suggestion would be, I'm not an attorney, would be to move on.
That's what I'm trying to do, but I do have.
And continue on, and I think that the listening audience should realize that everybody has a right to speak. They are speaking, and move on. You probably have more people that would like to say they're in favor or opposed, but right now you're at an impasse. So my suggestion is to move on and continue with the hearing.
That's what I'm trying to do, the clerk, but I have people in the public that are stating.
Take it from this point on.
Correct, that's what we're doing.
And I'm sorry, I would ask, there is no raise hand. There is no raise hand option on my screen. So
that's fine. So if, like I stated earlier, if you want to participate, you can just raise your hand on the screen and I will recognize you. And in that, we're moving forward. Mr. Burke, I know you have your hand up.
Thank you very much, Madam President. My name is Jim Burke, and I have law offices at 48 North Pearl Street in Brockton. The point I want to make, Madam President, is that the application that's coming after this application is in fact a priority license, both under the state and under our ordinance. And you should not be taking any vote on this application, which is not a priority license.
Mr. Burke will have his
No,
opportunity
Counselor,
Madam President. He'll have his opportunity to speak.
No,
You don't get
Counselor.
to speak yet. It's
I
not your
have
turn.
the floor, Counselor.
And you just have to say if you oppose or approve, that's it.
Mr. Woods, there's no, this is not a comment time. Mr. Burke, have the floor, please.
He'll have his opportunity,
all of my supporters.
Madam President. It's not his
Every
turn.
single one of my supporters. You cut off every single one of my supporters.
So again, Madam President, for the record, what I'm telling you is you should not take a vote
For
on this
the record, we're not
application.
taking a vote, Mr. Burke.
That
It's
is
not
not
your
o-
turn.
that is
For the
not only-
record, you need to
that is
chill
not
out until
only
it's your
rude.
turn.
That is
For
not
the
only
record,
rude-
it's not your
rude
turn.
and impolite, Counselor.
Councilors and Attorney
approved.
Burke, okay, this is, first of all, this this is unacceptable via Zoom, and I'm not cutting people off, but we're trying to run a hearing. I understand people want to speak. Attorney Burke, with all due respect, I understand your point, but let's move forward. Did you have a comment?
I do not.
You have comments on this matter?
I do not. I made my comment.
Is there anyone else here that is in opposition for this petition? If so, please come forward and state your name. Is there anyone else here in opposition? Okay, so at this time, I'm closing this hearing. Councilors, at this time, if you want to make a motion. Councilor Nicastro.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, there we are. Thank you, Madam President, for recognizing me. I've reviewed all of the paperwork that Ian Woods has provided to the council. I've also had a look at his filings at the Secretary of State's office. And I think we'd be wise if we continue this, but let me explain why. Mr. Woods has applied for both his CCC license and his Brockton license under the name Terrasol LLC. When you look in the records of the Secretary of State's office, Terrasol LLC's purpose is a landscaping business. Whereas he has another business, which is one of the general managers, Terrasol Group LLC. Their purpose is to be a marijuana license. You can't award a marijuana license to a company that doesn't have the sale of marijuana in its purpose in the organization papers. Now, Mr. Woods is aware of this. I did speak with him personally about it today. He very kindly provided me a copy of his operating agreement, but it doesn't solve this problem. I think if anything, if you continue this 2 weeks, it might give him an opportunity to speak, to consult, I don't know, legal advice, something to see if he can fix this. But I don't see us awarding a marijuana license to a company that was created to be a landscaping company. I think it's a defect, and that I would like to give him time to see if it can be remedied. I'm not sure it can be, but it's a serious, I think, defect in his application.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you,
I would
Counselor.
second that motion.
Counselor Lally.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam President. Just a question, Counselor Nicastro, did you make a motion?
I did not. I made the comment. I thought I'd let everyone else speak and then I'd make a motion.
Okay, I would second that, and then I would follow it with the recommendation that we postpone both other applicants to the 28th as well. I don't think it would be fair to do one and not the other. Or a matter of fact, even reconsidering the vote to take this out of order today and then postponing the other two, I think would be most prudent.
My Secretary of State files have been filed. I sent them over as well.
Madam President.
I'm sorry, Counselor, I'm not sure somebody was speaking at the same time.
That's it for that's all I had. I wanted to offer the recommendation that when everyone's done speaking, I will make the motion to reconsider, and so this will go back to going on the agenda for the 28th. And then I will be moving to postpone the other two applicants for the 28th.
Okay, Counselor Cardoso, you have your hand up.
Thank you. So I guess we're starting to behave like counselors now. I appreciate Counselor Nicastro and I appreciate Counselor Lally. I want to say that this has nothing to do with a particular applicant. It has everything to do with doing what is right and what is fair. And I want to make that clear, and I want that to go on the record. We can't pretend to hear something and then not hear it. As show, and you can fill in the blanks, okay? Because we heard one thing from our attorney, and then we did something else. So for the counselors that recused themselves, shame on you, because you heard everything that I heard. Mr. Woods has worked very hard to get this license. If it were not for Mr. Woods, we wouldn't even know that there was an additional license available, because this council was misinformed. There was a lot of misinformation around everything that's transpired. So I want to be clear. The reason why I'm upset, the reason why I'm losing it is because from the very beginning, this has been a horrible mess because we were misinformed. This is not about a particular applicant. This is about doing what's right. So we can't avoid, looking like idiots like we just did tonight. So I will, whatever motion is on the table to postpone both applicants, I will entertain that tonight, this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? Oh, Counselor Lally, you want to make your motion?
Madam President, I would, the last motion successfully made by this body was to take this item out of order and deal with it tonight. I would move to reconsider that motion.
To reconsider the motion to hear this evening?
Yes.
So just to be clear, that would have the effect of upholding Counselor Rodriguez's motion from the prior last meeting in November, so that the agenda item is heard on the 28th.
This would then be heard again on the 28th.
So a yes vote would put this matter in the 28th, just so the council's aware.
Okay.
I would need a second.
Second.
Okay, Councilor Castro, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say, the motion to hear it carried and you opened the motion.
Right.
You opened the hearing, so how can we now take that back?
A motion to reconsider can be made at any time.
Okay, even after you've opened the hearing and had some back and forth.
Yes, it's a motion to postpone. I mean, we can make that at any time.
Yeah, I would say motion to postpone. Thank you.
Madam President, motion having been made and seconded, I call the vote.
Okay, so just read your motion once again, please word it.
It's a motion to reconsider.
I'm just gonna move to postpone this to the next council
Very
meeting.
good.
Both applicants.
Well, they will be.
Mr. Woods, the hearing is closed. You can't make comments as you please. We're trying to move forward. It would help your application if you just allow the counselors to do their jobs.
Madam President, as a point of information, I am making a motion right now. I withdraw my previous motion. I am making a motion to postpone this item to the next council meeting, the meeting on the 28th. I will, just informing the rest of the body, I intend to make similar motions for both other marijuana applicants this evening.
Perfect. A motion was made and properly
Second.
seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak?
Yes.
Cardozo?
Yes.
Cruz?
He recused himself.
Ianieri?
He recused himself.
Farwell?
He recused himself.
Lally?
Yes.
Mendez?
Yes.
Monahan?
Yes.
Nicastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
8 in the affirmative.
Motion passes. Mr. Clerk, item number, so the petition is postponed until the 28th. Mr. Clerk, item number 19. Mr. Lally, Council Lally?
Madam President, I would like to move to take items 19 and 20 collectively.
20 was already postponed at the beginning of the meeting.
My apologies. I would just like to postpone item number 19 until the next council meeting, which is the 28th.
Second.
A motion's been made and properly seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
No.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Recuse.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
That's 9 in the affirmative, 1 in opposition.
So the petition is postponed until the 28th.
Madam President, Clerk,
Mr.
I believe that I should read that petition so that it's on record, it's being read.
Please read the petition, Mr. Clerk.
That would be the petition of Commonwealth Alternative Care, Inc. of 26 Brockton Street, Cambridge, Mass., requesting an adult use retail marijuana license located at 1090 West Chestnut Street, Brockton.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So the petition was read and it has been properly voted on to postpone until the December 28th meeting.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. We have
At this time, Mr. Clerk, the public hearing part of the meeting is we're not open for public comments, so please no more comments from the public, and you can exit the waiting room. And if you'd like to continue following this meeting, you can view it via live stream or on the Channel 12 cable access. Mr. Clerk, number 21.
We have the communication from the Director of Veterans Services requesting a transfer of $1,500 from the humanistic supplies, and costs of the Department Equipment rent lease.
Accepted and placed on file.
From the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Lieutenant Governor informing that the City of Brockton has been awarded $136,000 grant through the Community Compact Cabinets Information Technology Grant Program.
Accepted and placed on file.
The mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
The CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the mayor in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, recommending that the City Council authorize a total appropriation of $98 million using the form of order with language as recommended by Attorney Richard Manley of Rockland LLP, the City Bond Council, in order to provide funding through borrowing a set amount for the purpose to pay cost of designing, constructing, and equipping a public safety complex to house the police, fire information technology departments, and the Brockton Emergency Management Agency, and pay costs of designing and improving roadways, and utilities in the vicinity of the public safety complex.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have a communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have the reappointment of Stephen Hook of 31 Hammond Street, Brockton, to the Traffic Commission for a 3-year term in council November 23rd, 2020. Read and refer to Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
The question is on confirmation by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The reappointment's confirmed.
We have the order of acceptance of an anonymous donation of $8,000 to be used to purchase equipment for K-9 related needs from an anonymous donation to the police department. There is no required match for these funds. In council, November 23rd, 2020. Read and refer to Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
Question is on adoption by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes, sorry.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ian Airy,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Not an appropriation of $68,000 from the Mass Department of Environmental Protection Sustainable Materials Recovery Program grant to the Department of Public Works Sustainable Material Recovery Program Fund. In council, November 23rd, 2020. Read and referred to Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
The question is on adoption by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ian Airy,
Yes.
Farwell, Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
Communication is adopted.
Communication from the mayor authorizes the City of Brockton Public Works Department to transfer $1,400,000 of the $2 million that was originally appropriated to fund the water main replacement on Thomas Street, Thomas Circle, and Morse Avenue. While this transfer is not required to be authorized by the City Council, the CFO and the mayor committed to communicate with the City Council about the way in which these funds would be expended. The mayor respectfully requests that this communication be referred to the City of Brockton Finance Committee so that this matter may be further discussed. In council, November 23rd, 2020, read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance. That report was favorable.
The question is on adoption by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ian Airy, Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
11 in the affirmative.
The communication is adopted.
An ordinance to provide noise control and establish and to enforce civil infractions for violations, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Brockton, a new ordinance to be added to the revised ordinances, Chapter 14, Offenses, Miscellaneous, as Section 14-49, are in the next section available. In council, November 23rd, 2020, amended and passed by a hand vote, passed to a third reading as amended.
Counselor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, after a consultation with my fellow city councilors, I make a motion to amend the noise ordinance as follows. At paragraph 6, section A, under maximum noise level, to strike 50 and replace with 60.
Thank you, Counselor. So that's in the form of an amendment. Counselor Farwell,
On the amendment?
Counselor Farwell had his hand up. Go ahead, Counselor, you have the floor.
On the amendment, as a result of speaking with some counselors, I did some research and my screen just went.
Counselor, you're cutting out. I don't know. I can barely hear you.
All right, is that any better?
No,
Okay.
That is.
that's better now.
That's better. So I did some research, and according to the Center for Disease Control, 60 decibels is a normal conversation or an air conditioner running. A washing machine, and I'm reading from the document now, or a dishwasher is 70 decibels. It says you may feel annoyed by the noise. City traffic sitting inside your car
is 80 to 85 decibels. I'm not sure 60 decibels is the threshold that we want to set. And I am not an expert. I don't pretend to know everything that the CDC does. But if you enact an ordinance that basically says you're in violation if you're up to the decibel level of a normal conversation or an air conditioner, that concerns me. And I'm wondering if and I would direct this through the chair to Councilor Thompson, should this go back to the ordinance committee to make sure we go through this thoroughly and it does what you want it to do, but it doesn't do what you don't want it to do. And that's being overly restrictive. Now, I'm just reading from a document, nothing about sound and its effect on hearing, but 60 decibels, according to this, is nothing more than an air conditioner running. Can that be? Is that accurate? I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Fowler. I know that Councilor Rodriguez had his hand up, but Councilor Thompson, did you want to respond or?
If I may, thank you, Madam President.
Councilors, you can't hear anything because there's background noise, so. Councilor Thompson, I know Councilor Fowler asked a question. Did you want to answer him? He asked you a question.
Yes, Madam President, and thank you for the opportunity. So I understand your question, Councilor Farwell. So I'll answer it in a few different ways. So number one is I don't think those decibel readings are taking into account a reading upon the sound of the source of the sound. So this ordinance requires a reading to be taken 50 feet from the property line of any prohibited noise. So a sound that is 50 decibels or 60 decibels at the source would be much, much less when it's taken 50 feet away and 50 feet from the property line away from that source. So I do not believe that at the distance in which this measurement is to be taken would read 50 decibels for an air conditioner. Secondly, I researched this issue quite thoroughly, and what I did was I looked at all city ordinances throughout the Commonwealth in similarly situated cities like ourselves, proximate population size and stuff to that effect. So what I found in my research was that number one is a lot of cities don't even call for a decibel level, and they make it a subjective choice. I believe with debate with our ordinance committee, we felt that a more objective standard would be appropriate, so to remove any level of subjectivity from enforcement of this ordinance. So a lot of the cities that I researched that actually did have a decibel level, the majority of them, including the city of Boston, have a decibel level set at 50. All right. And then a few others had the lower end of 50 decibels. Some other communities, including Braintree and Somerville, had a decibel level reading of 60 for prohibited times. And then there was only one community in the state or the Commonwealth that had a higher requirement than 60, and that was Quincy, which had a decibel level at 65. There is no community in the Commonwealth with a reading, a requirement higher than 65. And so my position is, why should Brockton have the highest decibel level reading in the Commonwealth? After discussing this with members of the Ordinance Committee and Councilor Rodriguez, who will I'm sure respond, 50 was the recommendation of our police chief. When we had this conversation at Ordinance, we discussed decibel readings, and he felt that 50 decibels was, at the lower end of the reading scale, but common in his experience for this type of ordinance. Again, after consultation, we kind of agreed to raise the level a bit, not to be at the lowest end of the scale, but not to be at the highest end either. I believe 60 decibels. And remember, this is at 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night, depending on the day of the week. This is 50 feet away from the property line, which probably adds another 35 feet to the source. So we're looking at maybe anywhere from 80 to 100 feet away from the source. I believe 60 is appropriate. It's mid-scale in my research. And I'm comfortable with the 60 decibel reading at this time. Just to let you know, it would be my intention in the fall of next year to call a resolve, to bring in the administration, to bring in the Brockton Police Department to discuss the implementation and the impact of this ordinance and see if at that time, we should make any adjustments. But I think I don't want to be stuck in an analysis paralysis and not move forward with an ordinance that I believe is on par with other similarly situated cities in the Commonwealth and produce a clear and enforceable ordinance, which is what our residents are asking us to do. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Councilor Rodriguez.
Well, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to basically second what Council Farwell has actually stated. Council Thompson and I have gone back and forth on this particular item quite a bit. I honestly believe that the communities that actually have implemented some sort of a sound or noise ordinance in their books, in the sense, looking at the numbers of decibels, I honestly don't think that they actually looked at it as it would be looked upon today. When you look at it, anybody can get a sound meter on their cell phone. You can get a sound meter on your cell phone. So when you hear somebody saying 50 decibel, it sounds like a loud type, a real loud type of music or loud sound. But as Council Farwell so eloquently stated, and I also got a chart from the Department of Health and Human Services that basically does exact the same thing. When you're looking at the conversation that I'm having right now with you guys would be violating this particular ordinance because it's at 65 decibel and peaking at 70, 75 decibel. So it makes absolutely positively no sense for us to put something in the book that, one, it will be looked upon as a joke because we're putting now with the technology of today, we're putting something in the books that any little kid can actually download an app in their phone and register a sound greater than 60 decibel. I told Council Thompson, I do not want to vote against this ordinance because I believe we need to have a noise ordinance in the city. But it needs to be a sensible noise ordinance, something that makes sense. 60 decibel, when a conversation like I'm having with you guys right now, again, it's speaking at 72, 75 decibel. I'm not screaming. It's not that loud. I've got a little kid in the room here that's kind of looking at me. It's not really that loud. So we're going to put something in the books that will basically, if a dishwasher is running and somebody calls, and I understand the whole thing with being 50 feet from a property line. I don't know when was the last time you guys traveled around the city. In the middle of the city, very few properties sit 50 feet away from another property. You got these 3-deckers that are divided by a driveway. Those are 50 feet. So chances are somebody next door with the window open in the middle of the summer playing some music that would be perfectly acceptable will give a neighbor a pass to pick up the phone and call the police because they have registered a sound level greater than 60 decibel. I want to be sensible about this stuff. I don't want to do these things because, you know what, it's politically correct for us to put something in the books that says, look, we're trying to deal with the fireworks and all the issues of real loud music, these neighborhood parties that are taking place. But let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. If we're going to put something in the book, let's put something sensible, with something that's enforceable, with something that I, as a city council, will not sit here and say, yeah, I know that was a farce and it was done so that it looks good on people. If you folks are not going to adjust this to a point where it's more reasonable and acceptable to a lot of us, I have very little choice to vote against this. And I urge you to vote against this because you know what it is? It's not enforceable. It's not something that makes any sense. And when we say we asked the police chief to come in and talk about sound levels, the police chief is not an expert in sound levels. The police chief, he deals with that stuff. He's basically telling you what you hear on a regular basis. How can Boston have a 60 decibel ordinance in the book when you have got an airport with planes landing, taking off at all kinds of hours beyond the 11 o'clock time? And those planes are taking up and landing at a greater decibel than, I'm telling you, 60, 70, or 100 decibel. So I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because it's the politically correct thing to do. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. If we need to scratch that whole decibel thing out, let's scratch it like some of the other communities don't have that. And it could be based on the fact that, listen, we've got it in the ordinance. We get called on your address 2 or 3 times, we act. But as far as putting it at a 50 or 60 decibel, I think we're wasting our time. And that's something that I cannot support.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. I know, Councilor Cruz, you're waving your hand, but I do have a couple, Councilor Nicastro, who's had her hand up for a while. Councilor Nicastro?
Oh, thank you, Madam President. 2 things. And the first one is that the apps on cell phones that measure noise are not accurate. After a loud party in Ward 4 a couple of summers ago, I did a lot of research into this. Decibel meters are much more accurate. They have to be calibrated, but they're much better. I would be willing to support sending it back to ordinance, not because I don't think 60 is unreasonable, but because I think it would be good if we all we can get our hands on a decibel meter and listen to it so that we all have an idea of what we're talking about. I think in many parts of the city where houses are close together, in the summertime, sound is very loud late at night, and it's a problem. I just wanted to throw out one other thing while I was speaking. After the November ordinance meeting, I got a lot of calls from residents about comments that were made on it because, of course, the meeting was videotaped and then broadcast on the cable access channels and on YouTube. In effect, I guess a comment was made during the discussion of this proposed ordinance that there's someone sitting on the city council who has called the police department to complain about noise caused by minorities more than 40 times. And my residents were upset to hear this and were surprised. And so I said I would look into it. I researched this. I consulted with 3 different people at the police department, including Chief Emmanuel Gomes. I've been repeatedly assured that the police keep no records of city council calls or keep no tally or anything like that. And I have to say, as my personal opinion, I don't believe that my colleagues call about minority noise. I don't believe that for a minute. And I'm not trying to start an argument or anything, but I think it was very unfortunate that that was said. I don't think it's accurate. For myself, I make calls when constituents call me with problems. I don't know the source. I don't know any of the details. I just know when something is too loud and I can hear it through the phone, I call on behalf of my constituents. So I wanted to make that point in conjunction with the discussion of this ordinance, because I wanted to set the record straight as has been represented to me. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Cruz.
Thank you. I had originally told Councilor Thompson that I wouldn't go beyond 60 decibels, but I have looked into some of this since we've talked. I don't think this needs to go back to ordinance. I think we just need to find what number, and I wouldn't be in favor of taking out a decibel number, because what we don't want to do, and we got into deeply in the ordinance meetings, we don't want to leave this as an objective, subjective decision by the police. We want hard and fast numbers so that we can take away any idea that it's being used, not just the idea. We want to take away the idea that somebody can use this as a tool against somebody they don't like. I'm willing to, I think, maybe postpone this, and I'm going to go out and find out. There's got to be somewhere where I can find out just how loud what decibels are. I wouldn't totally trust a sound meter on an app either that you get for free, but the idea, and I've been looking too, what Councilor Fowler was reading, I've been looking at some things. The number probably needs to be up a little higher than it is, but I'm not in favor of taking out a hard and fast number. So I'd be willing to postpone this for one meeting, and let's put it on all of us to go out and find out how loud is 75 decibels or something like that. It still needs to be low enough that we have some teeth in this. And when some things going on, you don't need to make a call, but these weeknights, not just weeknights, there's been a lot going on in the last couple of years with parties around the city that are just too loud for the neighbors. So we need a hard and fast number. I think it probably does need to be a little bit higher than 60. I think some of those other towns don't have the 50 foot away from the source in their ordinance either. So think of it at 50 feet away, but the number probably does need to be a little higher. But let's not, I agree, throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's not kill this and take away any teeth. So I'd be willing to postpone this for a couple of weeks, but I think we need to come to a number and get this passed to give our police a tool that protects them and protects the neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. I know you've had your hand up for a while. Councilor Monahan, did you want to answer any of the questions, or?
Well, Madam President, I'll allow everyone who has yet to speak to make their opinion heard before I speak again. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Monahan.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Councilor Cruz. Also, another option could be to increase the 50 feet is not very far away. So maybe with the 75 or 100 feet with a decibel level. But we definitely got to get something pretty soon. And I know Councilor Rodriguez is right. I mean, we're a driveway away from your neighbors. So sometimes you wonder, but I think, in the long run, common sense, what the police officer gets there, a lot of the stuff you don't even need to use it because it's so crazy loud. But I think we probably should give it a little, maybe look into a little longer, like Councilor Cruz said, and maybe we can just get this down to what we need it to be and make sure we get it right. So thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, councilors that haven't spoken?
Madam President.
Councilor Ianieri.
Thank you, Madam President. I've been listening to the conversation, and I don't disagree with a lot that's been said. I did have conversation with Councilor Thompson in regards to this, and I felt that whatever he felt was best as well, because he had been working on it. Quite hard to believe, I mean, that we had a council that finally was able to put something together like this, because it's well overdue, and I do want to credit him for that. I think maybe if we all take a look at it and see if we can come up a notch or two that we're all comfortable with, and I'm sure he probably may have a recommendation as well, as we've been deciding what we do with it here this evening. But I think all in all and in just, I agree with Councilor Cruz too. I don't want to see us hold on to this and keep, rewording it and rewriting it and doing that. And the next thing you know, it's March and we haven't gotten where we want to be. I think we want to be prepared. And I fully agree with the other thing that Councilor Thompson mentioned, that within a year's time, we do file a resolve and we bring people before us, because as I've always said, an ordinance is only as good as how you're going to enforce it. And I want to see this be enforced. Is the chief going to take the bull by the horn and make sure that everybody's doing what they should be doing? Give it to the officers that are going to be out there and reading what this ordinance is all about, not saying, oh yeah, we got an ordinance on the book, but I didn't look at it. That stuff's got to stop. And that's the one thing that bothers me when we have something like this. So in any case, I just wanted to let my intentions be known. And I commend Councilor Thompson for his work and diligence in putting this thing together. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. No other counselors, so Counselor Thompson?
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for all the counselors who voiced their opinion tonight. I've been trying to be collaborative in this process, and as you all stated, I've reached out to most of you to really try to put forth the best ordinance possible. Now, I got these numbers from other similarly sized towns, so this is not something I just pulled out of the air. I also spoke with the chief about this, and I used his experience to base some of these numbers on. I think what you're saying is that, number one is, if we want to raise it, then Brockton will have the loudest noise allowance in the Commonwealth. If that's the will of this council, then that would be the will of the council. Number two is, you're asking us to kind of become sound experts, that we all need our own sound meters and start, playing with this. We just had a good hour-and-a-half conversation about marijuana retail shops. We're not marijuana experts either. We look around for other cities and towns and other experts and use their advice to try to formulate the best ordinance possible. That's what I did in this case. I'm not sure what the outcome we're all looking to do here. Nobody has a properly calibrated sound meter. So how are we going to wait to get one of those? Or are we just going to go with somebody's cell phone and call that as a properly calibrated sound meter? So, and then additionally, if we go higher than 65, we've got the highest in the Commonwealth. So, I didn't just pull this stuff from the sky. I did a lot of research on these issues, but if it's the will of this council to continue this matter and pull out sound meters and start yelling from across the street, then, hey, I'm game. Tell me where to be. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor.
Tomorrow.
Farwell, you put your hand up, or? Counselor Farwell, you're muted. You need to unmute.
Yes, we do have a state law that covers disturbing the peace, and it particularly mentions keepers of noisy houses. But if this is continued to the next meeting, as Councilor Cruz suggested, there's one piece of information we're missing, and that is from those communities that have a similar ordinance, have they had prosecutions? In what number, and what was the outcome? Because there's no sense passing an ordinance if we find out from other communities that, you know what, the courts laugh at it. They don't enforce it. They dismiss it. They don't issue complaints. A show cause hearing is held and the person shows up and the clerk says, well, you know what, don't worry about it. I just don't want to see you again. So if this is continued for a couple of weeks, I would like to find out from some other police departments, has the ordinance worked, in what numbers, and did it address the problem that they were trying to solve? Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Thompson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Counselor Farwell, to your position of a clerk just saying, hey, it's okay, you can walk away. In my 10-year experience of defending speeding tickets and similar type of civil infractions, their hearings that are held with a police officer testifying as to properly calibrated distance and the decibel reading. If that's what our law states, then I don't believe any clerk is just going to say it's okay. You can go. So I just don't think that's really the the course of business with any district court that I've been involved in. And if you want me to start making calls to, let me back up. This is being done under our 23D ordinance. So it's a civil infraction. It's going to be adjudicated if they appeal it in a district court. And I think there will be an objective standard that the prosecutor is going to have to meet. And if he meets that objective standard, I see this as being an enforceable ordinance. Thank you.
Okay, councilors, so no other further comment. So we're going to move forward with the vote, or did you want to make a motion, Councilor Thompson?
Well,
I
have a motion on the
floor
table to amend.
I'm sorry, you're up speaking.
I'm sorry, point of information. Do we currently have an amendment on the floor?
That's my understanding. I made a motion to amend, so I'm not sure if that was seconded or not, but if it is, I think we should take a vote on it.
I'm not sure if it was seconded. I know you made the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion was seconded, Council Lally?
Yes.
Okay, a motion was made and properly seconded. So the question is on ordination is amended by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please.
No questions on the amendment.
Correct. The question will be on the passage of the amendment, which increases only the 50 to 60.
Right.
So can I just clarify?
I'm sorry, go ahead. Attorney Resnick, you were speaking?
I was going to say then if on passage, you would need a second vote.
Okay, so this is just on the amendment that we're voting. So, correct. That's what I thought. So the questions on ordination is amended by a roll call vote.
No.
It's not, okay.
Question is on the amendment.
Yep. And then if that carries, then you can call for the question on ordination.
Okay, so roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
ASAC?
Yes.
Cardozo?
No.
Cruz?
Yes.
Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell?
Yes.
Lally?
Yes.
Mendez?
Yes.
Monahan?
Yes.
Nicastro?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
No.
Thompson?
I apologize. Yes.
So that's 9 in the affirmative, 2 in opposition. The amendment carries.
So the
Madam
amendment,
President,
Councilor Cruz.
I would now make a motion to postpone until the next meeting, just pending. I'd like to get some more information on that level.
Second.
A motion was made to postpone until the next
Council meeting.
city council meeting in December, so the motion's up.
On the motion, Madam President,
I'm sorry,
on the motion.
Councilor Rodriguez?
I'm at a loss for words here. I mean, you just supported an amendment to Councilor Cruz to amend the sound, and yet now you're going to postpone this so that you can read more about the sound?
Exactly.
Can I answer?
Please.
Councilor Cruz, you have the floor.
Yes, I voted yes on the amendment because it pushes it up. In case it was going to pass tonight, it pushes it from 50 to 60. I think it does need to be a little bit higher, so I'd like to put it off and see if we need to push it higher. But I supported the amendment just because if it did pass tonight, I wanted the 60 instead of the 50.
Well, Madam Chair, if I could still speak on my on the motion.
On the motion, Counselor.
Well, I was just, my question to Council Cruz, would you not want to push this into the beginning of January? Since we're going into the Christmas season and a lot of these departments, because of COVID, because of the holidays, are not going to be operating as they should. So perhaps we should push this beyond the holidays?
My thought was I had some police departments in the area that I wanted to reach out to, that I know some people and see what they have, but I'd certainly be willing to withdraw my motion and postpone it till the second meeting in January.
I'll
On the motion,
Counselor Lally had his hand up, Counselor Cardoso, and then after Counselor Lally, you'll have the floor. Counselor Lally?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to offer sort of a point of information. This item has been amended, but that does not stop it from being amended in the future. We can if this item is postponed, and if it is the will of the council that the ordinance be changed, and the limit be raised, we can do that just through another amendment. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Cardoso?
that's exactly why I was going to ask what we were doing here. And I agree with Councilor Rodriguez. Why are we voting on? That's why I voted no. I think this is silly. We should have just postponed it and do our research and then come up with a number. It's like amendment after amendment. To me, it's a waste of time, but so be it.
So a motion was made and properly seconded to postpone until,
On the motion as well, if I may, Madam President. I just want to, talking about when this should be postponed to, if that's the will of this council. Speaking with the police chief, he was hoping for a time to seek grants so that we can get grant money to purchase the sound meter readers. He would like to have those in place prior to, springtime, summertime, when party season starts off again. I just wanted to put that into the mind of the council when we decide what time we're going to postpone this to. And that's what I have to say. Thank you. So if December would be more appropriate, in my opinion, than the end of January.
so your motion's to postpone this until, there was a motion to postpone it till December, so you,
So I withdrew that and made the motion as postpone it till the second meeting in January.
And I second that one.
that was properly seconded? Did somebody second the motion?
I'll second that, yes. I second that.
A motion was made to postpone until the second meeting in January, correct? It was properly seconded. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Cardozo,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Ianieri,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yeah.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yes.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
No.
11 in the, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in opposition.
So the ordinance is postponed until January. So councilors, our clerk has lost internet, I believe, so our attorney Resnick will be reading the part of the clerk.
Order, transfer of $1,500 from Veteran Service Humanistic Supplies and Costs to Veteran Service Departmental Equipment Rent/Lease.
Referred to finance.
35, ordered appropriation of $136,000 from Executive Office of Administration and Finance, EOAF Community Compact Grant to Mayor's Office Community Compact Grant Fund. No match is required.
Referred to finance.
36, order that the city of Brockton appropriate the amount of $98 million for the purpose of paying costs of designing, constructing, and equipping a public safety complex to the House to house the police, fire, information technology departments, as well as the Brockton Emergency Management Agency, including the payment of costs of designing and improving roadways and utilities in the vicinity of the public safety complex, making improvements to enhance traffic flow, and for payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. To meet this appropriation, the city treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under GL Chapter 44, Section 7-1, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the city therefore. Any premium received upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of the cost of insurance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with GL Chapter 44, Section 20, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. Further ordered that the city treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under GL Chapter 44A and any and all boards or notes of the city authorized by this vote, and to provide such information and execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts may require.
Refer to finance.
37, resolved that the mayor, chief financial officer, and other such individuals as the mayor may determine to be appropriate be invited to a finance committee meeting on December 21st, 2020 to provide information to the city council on the status of public safety facility project.
Refer to finance.
38, granting of National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc., requesting permission to erect and maintain poles and wires to be placed thereon, together with such sustaining and protecting fixtures as said companies may deem necessary to be owned and used in common by your petitioners in the following public ways or ways. Main Street, National Grid's petitions to install a new intermediate pole, P138 between P137 and P139, so a new stitching equipment can be installed for the high voltage lines.
The question is on granting. Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Asak,
Yes.
Yes.
Cardozo, Cruz,
Yes.
Ianary,
Yes.
Farwell,
Yes.
Lally,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Monahan,
Yep.
Nicastro,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yeah.
11 in the affirmative.
The petition is granted. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our agenda for this evening. Councilor Lally, do you have a moment of council's recognition?
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to take a second to offer a moment of silence for former Brockton Fire Chief James Hallisey, who passed away earlier today at 90 years old. So I was hoping we could do that now.
Thank you, Councilor. A moment of silence for Chief Hallisey. May he rest in peace, and our condolences go out to the Hallisey family, as he has two sons that serve as captains on our police department. So our condolences to the Halliseys.
Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Cruz.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege, not more recognition. But I just want to say I'm disappointed in this evening. I took a difficult vote tonight and took a difficult action to stand on a principle that I think was very, very important. And to be personally called out and admonished for it really disappointed me, because I stand up in my 14, 15 years in this council, and in this year in particular, I stand up very often for councilors that I disagree with, but who take stands based on principles that they have. And I just want to say that I was very disappointed tonight. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Farwell.
I want to take a moment of personal privilege too, and I'll try not to be too long-winded. I started my public service career in 1967. I graduated from the Brockton Police Academy, and I was a summer cop down in the Cape. I've served in state government. I've served as mayor. I've served as member of the school committee, and now the city council. I am honored to be here with you in that position, but we looked terrible tonight. And I recused myself because I believe that when the legislative body of this city takes a vote to take a certain action, in this case, postpone something to a date certain, that should stand. I don't care about Attorney Resnick and her opinions. I don't care if the governor came down and said, you know what, you should do it differently. There is a process, as Councilor Cruz said. We need to respect that process. The people look to us as 11 people who are supposed to guide the process in Brockton of legislation and setting policy, and having crosstalk between people, commenting on out-of-town people at a public hearing. I mean, we've got to learn the limits of what our role is and also what people are entitled to do. If someone lives out of town, maybe they own a business here, so they may want to comment. And I do want to say to you, Council President, and I jokingly said to you today, I will never be your favorite person. I know I have poked at you at times, but this was a tough meeting for you tonight, and it was very tough by Zoom. And it was made tougher than it should have been. And I would just like to say to my colleagues, and it's not because it's the holiday season, I really believe this year round, we've got to pull together. We've got to respect the council, the role it has in this city. We've got to give people hope that we know what the hell we're doing, and we're not a bunch of buffoons that have certain issues that are important to us, and we're willing to go to any limit to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And I'm saddened that this was the night that we had. And I blame myself. I should have looked into some things more thoroughly. For example, we don't even have to have public hearings on marijuana licenses. I found that out from both the city solicitor today and from legislative counsel. And when I asked, it was past practice for all the other licenses, so we thought we'd do it. We need to follow ordinances and we need to follow laws. We are professional. Each of you is here because I know you believe in the city and that we can have a better day tomorrow. But we're not going to have better days tomorrow if we have another repeat of tonight. Thank you very much. And it is an honor to serve with all of you. Hopefully we learned something tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And just to comment, our clerk and Attorney Resnick have told us, since I've been council president, that really we don't have to have hearings, but we have been having them, but we don't technically have to have them. But because we want to give the public the right to make their voices heard, so that's why we had them, and we tried our best to make it a fair process to everybody. Councilor Cardoso.
So I appreciate Councilor Farrell for your comments. The process has to be fair for everyone, and we can't let our own agenda get in the way of doing what's right. The reason we are here is that because we didn't do our due diligence to get all of the information necessary. There are a lot of councilors that do all of this digging when it comes to something that they care about, and they represent their constituents, appropriately. Then there are councilors that decide, hey, I don't care about this particular item, so I'm not going to do my homework and look into this. And that's what's happening here, is that we're picking and choosing which agenda items we want to research and bring to the table, and what information we want to bring to the table. We have to make the process clear, transparent, and fair for everybody. This has nothing to do with Ian Woods. This has nothing for me. And I know councilors have said that I spent all this time on it. If I didn't spend time on it, we wouldn't come to the conclusion that there was a license available. That's why I spent time on it, because I saw some things that were not right and not fair. We're in a whole different world. This isn't when, 15 years ago. People are paying attention. They're looking up things. They're sending us information. Even if you don't have public hearings, guess what? People can request transcripts. They can see this stuff on the cable television. They can see it on YouTube, okay? So we need to be as transparent and as fair as possible with all of the agenda items, not just the ones that we care about, not just the people we care about. Everybody, treat everybody fairly. That's my beef. Thank you. And the other thing that I will say, When it comes to public comments, we ask for people's addresses. So people think that only Brockton residents can comment. So if that's not the case, we need to make it clear, because they think that because they have to provide an address, that they have to be a Brockton resident. So if that's not the case, and we can have, there were tons of folks that wanted to speak on behalf of Mr. Woods that were from Boston, that are marijuana SC advocates and all of that. And then they didn't come and speak because they thought they had to be a Brockton resident. So for us to allow an attorney of someone who's coming in front of us to make comments, that's not right. Because then when Mr. Ian Woods makes comments next week, I mean, on the 28th against Commonwealth or against that other applicant, we better allow him to make comments then. Or his attorney or his supporters.
Council, so
Okay?
I'm going to just clarify a few things. As far as a clear, transparent process, we offered this to everybody, and that was the whole reason we had this hearing this evening. We've done our best to be able to offer that to all the applicants, and that's what we tried to do. And as far as the public comment part of it, the reason you give your address, your name and address is so you can go on the record, so we know that these are who is actually making the comments before us.
Yeah, but they don't understand that, Shirley. They think that they have to be a Brockton resident. That's what everybody says.
That came from, I never stated it, and I don't.
Not you, not you.
Okay, but in past hearings, we've always had, you know, that's why it's called a public hearing. It's the public making comments. Councilor Rodriguez, I will recognize you, but I just want to clarify, because there is a lot of comments out there, and we are doing our best. We can. Mr. Woods made a lot of statements about other applicants when he was before us. I mean, he did have his opportunity, and it wasn't right that he kept interrupting, and we, but it happened, it's done. I don't like the way the hearing went, but it's over, it's behind us. So let's move forward. But I just, you know, as counselors, I'd like to give credit to everybody that we all try to do the best we can, and that we hope we're doing the best for the community. I think we all have a common goal, and that's to do what's best for Brockton. And I hope that that's what we're doing. And I know that I do my best trying to get that across. And, you know, statements will be made, and I'll stand behind them, but I believe we offered a fair hearing to allow people to speak. Councilor Rodriguez, you have the floor. You ought to unmute if you want us to hear you.
Well, I got the little guy in the room here, so that's, you know, he's getting tired of this whole thing anyways, but I just want.
You're going to be counselor by the end of the year, you know.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, if we continue to do this Zoom stuff, you will be, you know, that's why I opt to do it, you know, do it live at City.
I tried, but.
But I just want to take a moment just to thank you for holding the gavel tonight. I know this was a difficult meeting with people talking all over the place because of the circumstances that we're under, but I thought you did a great job in holding everybody accountable in this sense. The issue I think that we had tonight was the fact that the system failed us. We had a failure in the system. And that's why I strongly believe that neither one of those two applicants should have been put on the agenda for tonight. They should have both been, the deadline was for Commonwealth Care to have their paperwork and their application in by the 14th, not to be on the agenda by the 14th. And I believe that they both could have been on the 28th, and none of this stuff would have happened the way it did happen. But the fact that we're holding public hearings, again, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not about holding a public hearing. It's about how we hold the public hearing and make sure that everybody that speaks actually have an opportunity to speak, because that's why we're here. We're here to represent the public, and this is where the public comes to voice their opinion. But I think we got to be very careful as we go forward. I hear you, buddy. So we need to understand that the system is here to guide every single one of us. And I've made this comment several times in the council. We all have one vote. We all are all equal. One or two individuals should not dictate what happens in the council. The fact that items were put on the agenda it should not be put in the agenda because we have a process in place that basically said that one item will be postponed until the 28th, and there was nothing that said that that item had to come before us on the 14th. So I think we have to be very careful as we move forward, is if we're gonna follow the rules, we're gonna follow the books, then we follow the books. But the fact is that we put somebody on the agenda, that person was on the agenda, honestly, if they're on the agenda, they needed to be heard. You know, either that, or we could have just kind of, you know, listened to whatever we needed to listen to and postpone the matter like we did. But I think it was important for us to make sure that as we move forward, we're not really kind of doing something that could be perceived in the community as not above the board, because we know that this system is not a fair system. And I want to say something to Councilman Castro. I was the one who made a comment about the 43 calls to the police department, because that's what I was told by the police department. And I need to make sure that we understand that, you know, again, it's clear and transparency that we're looking for to make sure that everybody in the city is treated the same way. When I go to the tax department, people A does not pay a certain taxes than people B. So I think it's important for us to understand that they come from the same background, the same level, and we need to treat individuals exactly the same, no matter what they come from. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. And just once again, you know that having served as council president and having been on the council as long as I have, you know very well that the city council agenda is put together through our clerk's office. But I just want to clarify that the reason things were on the agenda was because they were discussed and with our attorney, and that's why with our legislative council, and that's why they were on the agenda this evening. So it was, you know, and that's a discussion you can have separately with the clerk or Attorney Resnick, but this was something that was discussed in advance, and that's why they were on the agenda. Councilors, do any other councilors need a moment of personal recognition? I see Councilor Monahan.
Madam President?
Councilor Ianieri, yes.
Yeah, I just want to say, and I'll just be briefly, I love you all. Can I go home and go to bed now?
All you have to do is click a button. You don't have to go far, Councilor Ianieri. But Councilor Monahan has his hand up, so if.
Oh, the heck with him.
Oh, okay. Councilor Monahan, are you all set?
Well, you know, I'm allowed to speak once in a while.
Of course, you have the floor.
That's enough.
But after tonight, but I just think, you know, these times are very tough and there's a lot of tension. And this virus has gotten everybody on edge. We're on edge. We say things we don't mean. We say things without thinking sometimes. But I think we just got to take a deep breath, move forward, follow the rules, get things going the way they're supposed to go, treat everybody fairly like we've all said. And we just got to move on from now on. We really have to, like Councilor Fowler said, come together. I get along with all of you. Well, maybe not Councilor Rodriguez. I can see his face there. You know, I love you. No, and I call you out, and even Tina Cados, I call her once in a while. God. But anyway, we have some laughs. We all just get along. And, you know, we all have our different opinions. Like I said, and I know this virus is driving everybody insane. And it really has people on edge. But let's move forward together and let's forget the past and let's be together and have a better next year. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that ending, Councilor Monahan. Thank you for those wise words. And with no further business before us this evening, this meeting is adjourned.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.